Sunburst could be Luster Dawn's father. I made the case for that in this video here. Definitely check it out after this. But today we're asking a different question. Is Sunburst the brother of Sunset Shimmer? So based on just their looks, it's easy to see why some people would think Sunset and Sunburst are related. They have similar eye, coat, and mane colors. Both look, well, sunny. And taking a look at Sunburst's mother, it's not hard to imagine she might be Sunset's mother too. We'd have a whole family of sun names and cutie marks. Stellar Flare, Sunburst, and Sunset. As for the father, his cutie mark may not be sun related, but his name might be. I've seen him called Sunspot, but I think Solar Wind matches better. Regardless, Sunset seems to fit quite nicely into the family. She would share her mother's ambition and her brother's desire for prestige and love for magic. The similarities go on. Both supposed siblings showed magical promise and were sent to Celestia's school. I mean, with names and cutie marks like that, you can't blame them for thinking they were destined to work with Celestia. But of course, both Sunburst and Sunset had less than stellar experiences at the school. One flunked out while the other let her talent go to her head, betraying Celestia and abandoning Equestria for another world. Okay, so they had very different experiences, but it wouldn't surprise me if they came from the same family. So, did they? Well, there's one potential problem here, and her name is Starlight Glimmer. Starlight used to be super close with Sunburst. They were inseparable. So if Sunburst and Sunset were siblings, you'd think that Starlight would at least be familiar with her best friend's sister. Yet, when Starlight and Sunset crossed paths, they had to introduce themselves. There was no recognition, no familiarity. They had never met. So that's that, right? Not so fast. We gotta take their ages into account here. According to Celestia, Sunset Shimmer began her studies not long before Twilight. This leads me to think that Sunset is at least a bit older than Twilight, and likely Sunburst and Starlight as well. There's no way to distinguish a couple years difference between adults, but turn back the clock and it may become apparent. If Sunset was just a couple years older than Starlight, it's possible she left for Celestia's school before Starlight even formed her first memories. So provided a small age difference, these two not recognizing each other isn't a problem at all. But wouldn't Starlight at least know of Sunset Shimmer? Wouldn't Sunburst bring up his older sister at least once? Not necessarily. Sunset's rebellion and disappearance would have been a sore subject, one that folks in Sire's Hollow would try their best to avoid. So even if Sunburst had memories of an older sister, he probably wouldn't have shared them. That would be why neither Sunburst nor Stellar Flare ever mentioned Sunset. What happened to her would have affected them deeply. Especially Stellar Flare, which, in this context, her behavior towards Sunburst makes a lot more sense. She would write to him incessantly and over-involve herself in his business. Her explanation was that she remembered how lost Sunburst was after he flunked out of magic school, and thought that as long as he had a plan, he'd never feel that way again. But what if that's not the full story? What if there's an element of guilt there? Perhaps when Sunset left the nest, Stellar was more hands-off, keeping out of her business. So when news of Sunset's defiance and disappearance reached her, she would have felt personally responsible for not helping guide her. Sometime later, when Sunburst left home, you can understand why she overcompensated, constantly sending letters out of fear of losing him too. If this theory is true, it's quite the sad one. But at least we know Sunset came around and ended up okay. She eventually made up with Celestia, so we can only hope she reunited with her folks as well, whether that's Stellar Flare or someone else. But what do you think? Is Sunset part of Sunburst and Stellar Flare's family? Why or why not? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. If you want to support this channel financially, check out my reward tiers at patreon.com/sawtoothwaves. And thank you so much to everyone who already has, especially my Alicorn tier patrons. The Nameless One, Hexstream, Equinox3141, Maximilian HG, Cyanax and Fairfallen, Yoshi Darklord, Gilded Page, Dr. Hooves, and the winner of this week's Alicorn raffle, Petrolhead02. Congrats, and thanks again for everyone's support. You all helped make this channel possible. I'm Sawtooth Waves, signing out until Friday after next. Brohoof.